Hello, this is Andreas from Austria. I did live for 3 decades in Australia, and today I would like to first of all introduce myself, Andreas from Austria, and I've got 101 strange or wonderful stories. And one of these stories I want to talk to you about today, and it's the story of willingness and why it's so important. But first, let me tell you another story. It was sort of in the mid 80s that I've met a very extraordinary person. His name was Howard. I'm not much of a movie maker, but I can make appear for you. That is Howard. You know, you see an old man in his living room with an old black and white television set in the back, comfortably in his warm clothes because it was winter time in Australia. Anyway, Howard was extraordinary because he was the only and first and only universal genius that I actually personally met in my life. He could just talk about any topic to anybody on any level. And uh, one day I came, oh, yes. And he was a retired professor of psychology. And after retirement, he opened his our house to students to come ask him questions. And he sort of discovered me, poor, confused young fella. And he invited me in to stay there in his student quarters. And I received the wisdom and his knowledge for a period about 3 years. Not that I really put it into practice much at the time, but that's beside the point. I was there with a very extraordinary man who had a lot of stuff. He was also an electronic specialist. And those days we didn't have Windows, and we didn't have computer mouse, and well, you know what it was like in the mid to the late 80s. There was nobody had a computer other than FBI and CIA, and it sort of filled the room like in the in the movies. Anyway, I came to his room and he was pretty well sitting there like he does on this picture, and he held something in his hand. And it was an electronic gadget he got he ordered from America, the latest of the latest of technology. It looked something like that. It is not that, but it looked something like that. You had to put your fingers on certain plates here. It had an on and off switch, and it had three different levels, one, two, and three, which you could adjust, right? So he was sitting there holding that thing and was all nice and quiet. And I said, Howard, what have you got there? And he went through a very long, convoluted explanation of how it measures the stress level and the brain waves. And although you held it in your hand, your fingertips have got the same kind of energies as the brain, where it is reflected to the fingertips. And when you've got a certain level of stress, it will make a noise. And then he said, Here, boy, you hold it. And he had it on three, but he turned it back down to one for me, okay? And I clutched it and woo! It made a loud noise. I nearly threw it across the room because it got a bit of a shock because it was this loud beeping noise. And he said, Well, you're in the stress, aren't you? I said, Yes, Howard, I am in a stress. I've got relationship problems. I've living problems. I've got a lot of problems at the time. And my stress level was up through the roof. So he said, Boy, Why don't you hang on for this for a couple of days, give it back to me afterwards, and play around with it and figure out what actually will, which method will work best for you to reduce your stress level. I said, thank you, Howard. Okay, it quickly turned down because it still made a noise. So I went home and I had all these tapes of meditation, meeting your spiritual guide. And you walk into this forest and up into the green hills, and there's an old man, the kind of new agey kind of stuff. And I turned it on three. It screamed so loud, it nearly blows your drums. So I had it on one, and uh, and I played around and listened to this tape and okay, it went down a bit, but it's still on. Then you had a little wheel where you could turn it up on each level. Yeah, so if you've got it up on each level uh, and it doesn't make a sound, you switch it to level two and then boo, it comes on again. On level three, you have got to be a master of awareness to not make that thing squeal. Anyway, I had 3 days to figure out what method would work and which doesn't. So, well, that meditation tape didn't bring the thing. So, okay, I put it in my bag. I went into the bush, into the forest. I sat under a tree and breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in relaxation, breathe out all the stress. Also, new age material. Don't recommend it, right? I'm just telling you what happened, okay? So, again, I sat there for a couple of hours. The mosquitoes came out and bit me, which increased the stress level again. And it still squealed. It still squealed. And wow, I was running out of what other meditation techniques do I know? No, no, that actually turned it up. That didn't do anything at all. Okay, so I was having a restless and nearly sleepless night, thinking of what meditation here. I'm listening to all these tapes and going to workshops of how to become a calm and happy and relaxed person, and nothing that I've ever learned worked. And second day, pretty well the same happened. And on the third day, I said, okay, I'm gonna blow that thing up by focusing exactly on all these things that stress me. Relationship. There was a girlfriend as nuts as I was, and we were constantly on fire when the sparks were flying. And so I focused on it, and the amazing thing was happened was okay. It went up, zip, it squealed, and then came down. If you're willing to focus your attention on exactly those problems that bother you, you just look at it. That thing has stopped working. So actually, I got it to a level where I can switch it to number two, turn it all up again, and I focused more on it, and finally it would stop. So my research has shown that being willing to focus rather than instead of covering it up and say, I don't want to know about this problem and walk away and try to entertain other thoughts. No, the only thing that works is to engage your energies with a difficulty, to focus in it and focus in it and focus on it. And like the old man Howard said, a thing. He had a whole list of I think 50 different universal laws written down. Okay, and one of them said a thing fully known disappears. It disappears in the sense that it is no longer a problem if you're willing to focus on it. So when it comes to our religion, well, we're willingness to follow the example of the saints, of our mother, of our blessed mother. Well, it is unachievable. That's beside the point. Or even uh, the imitation of Christ. I mean, fat chance that we ever get there. No, we don't won't. But willingness to engage with this kind of endeavor will cut down the stress level and get us where we want to be at a state of calm, of relaxation, and of spirituality. So that's that's it for today. And I just want to introduce the family to you. And here, yeah, this one. This is Milky. Say hello to the people. Yeah, Milky, people. Yeah. Okay. Well, there is another one. There is another. Don't go away. Don't go away. This one is Chico. Okay. Bye for now. Bye for now.